in terms of some of the strengths that when I watch the Browns on tape, man, I start out with the quarterback, Deshaun Watson, man. Watching him this past game was not perfect, not at all. Still had misses. I need to see it with better conditions, though, because I looked at his misses, and I do feel like a lot of that was associated with the rain that they were playing in. But more so, the reason why I have him as a strength is just his decision-making right now. Watching him not even a couple of times, just watching him in that game versus Cincinnati, pressure was still happening, but his decision-making, run versus pass, when to extend, when to take some chances with the football, it just looks like he's getting more and more back acclimated to playing. Whereas, like we said last year, man, that was a very wacky, chaotic situation. When you go from not playing for a year, then you suspended the first half of the thing, then you come back in this regular season games. Like, I don't think that's the same version we're gonna see. I do think that he will be a lot better than that version that showed up last year versus us. But to me, man, I just think that he definitely played a lot better than what I saw from him last year. So I wanted to start out with him. How did we do it last week? Then we go, I went one, you went one. We just kind of went back, talked through it, right?
I do have one main thing on my mind, which is
yeah,
like a strength and weakness for both sides.
Yeah, go for it, man.
And it has to do with the edge rushers versus the tackles.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's both sides because, Browns got Myles Garrett, they got Zadarius Smith, and after watching that Browns-Bengals game last week, I mean, they were teeing off against the Bengals offensive line. Now, that kind of, I think, was a good sign going forward because I think the Bengals O-line is going to be worse than what most people were thinking.
I would agree.
Burrow had no time back there. But, so they're going to be going up against either Dan Moore or Chooks, which feels like a little bit of a mismatch in their favor, obviously. Or potentially, if Chooks is out, it's going to be Broderick Jones with his first start and then Dan Moore. And Dan Moore didn't have his best of performances last week. But, again, he is Myles Garrett's kryptonite. So there's that. You could always put that little feather in your cap right there.
At left tackle.
Yeah, Broderick would go over to right tackle.
And Myles plays left hand right now.
Right.
That was the only part I was thinking of with Myles.
Like you just said, they're moving him around a little bit.
Because I was like, I don't want to cut you off, though. You go. You keep going.
And then on our side, TJ Watt, Highsmith, but I think we have the advantage in this strength-weakness category because we got Highsmith going up against Jedrick Wells, who Highsmith has this dude's number. You look back last year.
I'm with you.
4 sacks total. I think it was like 16 total tackles, like 4 or 5 tackles for loss. And then TJ is going to be going up against a guy getting his first start in DeJuan Jones. So I like that. Just a little bit better than what the Browns will be dealing with on their defense
DeJuan
versus
played last
our
week,
offensive
though.
line. What?
DeJuan was out there last week.
No, that dude got hurt.
Oh, no. But he came in at the end, I thought, though.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I like TJ Watt against the rookie and Highsmith against Wells, who, again, Highsmith has had success against. But, I mean, it's a key factor for both sides is what I'm saying.
100%. Absolutely.
I'll lean our way as the advantage in the whole O-line versus edge rush matchup. But, I think that's a strength and weakness for both sides.
All right. No, I like that, man. So, I actually have Pastures up there as well, man. Talking about the Browns, man, specifically, they do have that. But like you broke it down, man, it is mainly the edge rushers, Zadarius and Myles. They don't really generate a ton of pressure from inside unless it is Zadarius and Myles twisting. Or they'll line Myles over the center, and they're letting him penetrate through the A gap, and they're looping guys. They're doing a lot more movement with Myles in that front, and I think it helps him out because him as a standalone, just every down rushing from the right side is still good, but that's the difference like between him and TJ, right? You can keep TJ at the same spot, and all that stuff you try to do to him, he still is able to make that impact. Whereas we can see multiple times where Miles can get kind of quiet over there if you see him there the whole time. Watching him in this Bengals game where they moved him around, they could not account for where he was. So you couldn't always slide it. You couldn't always guarantee there was going to be the chip coming here or it was the matchup that you wanted. Almost like what you would watch Houston do with J.J. Watt back in the day where it was like he might be at tackle or he might be at edge. He might line up over these guards. He might line up over the center. It's more matchup related now. If it's that version and Myles is playing like how he was, versus the Bengals, then yeah, that's another dynamic to him. Za'Darius is still really good. He is getting older, but Za'Darius is, like I said, man, he's still really good. So the pass rush matchups are crazy though, man.
Yeah, it's like the same thing
It's
in a way.
yeah,
Like,
it's crazy. So
each team has the advantage in their pass rushers versus the opposition's O-line.
So I looked at it like this. If it's Dan and Chooks, I take our pass rushers versus their tackles. If it's Broderick and Dan Moore, I take their pass rushers in that matchup, because as much as I love, to see Highsmith get off on Jedrick Wills and stuff like that, Jedrick Wills has still started multiple games in this league at that left tackle spot. It has not been god awful. I don't know what I'm going to get from Broderick Jones.
I guess we could say the same about DeJuan Jones, though, on their side.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And both for who? Okay, you're going against TJ Watt, who arguably is the best player in football. Okay, and you're going against Myles Garrett, who, if you're from Cleveland, you're going to say arguably the best player, arguably the best defense player in football. So either way, you're screwed, bro.
I just lean us.
Oh, of course. I don't expect it otherwise.
Well, here's the thing, though. I got TJ over Miles. I also got Highsmith over Smith.
See, that's where we differ.
Now, I guess you could lean Wells over Moore, but as I said, I think Highsmith has had very much a decent amount of success against Wells, so I'm not as concerned about that. Dan Moore, obviously, you make the joke about him being Myles Garrett's kryptonite and whatnot, but yeah, I think the dynamics and everything, and just how I have our edge rushers over the Browns, maybe you could argue it's tough. I mean, Broderick.
Does it change?
Is a higher pedigree pick over DeJuan Jones, so I could take Broderick over Jones, and then if you want Wells over Moore, I could give you that. But that's 3 guys for us to 1 for the Browns.
However you math it up, bro.
That's my math.
However you math it up,
I'm leaning
man.
us in that category, edge rushers versus O-line.
Does it change anything if Dan is at right tackle for you?
I'm guessing he'll be left.
Okay. Would it change anything if this is Broderick's first time you're seeing him at right tackle?
No. That's the way I think it's going to be.
Are you saying you think they're going to put Broderick at right tackle?
I think it is going to be Broderick at right. Yeah. Okay. No. Yeah, that's how I think it's going to be. And if it was flipped, Broderick versus Myles Garrett then, primarily. I mean, we got TJ Watt going up against DeJuan Jones, so it's like stud edge rusher versus rookie. I'll take Broderick over DeJuan, and I'll take TJ over Myles Garrett.
It's all good, bro. It's all good.
That's what I'm doing.
It's all good. I don't even like the Browns. I'm taking the Browns, bro, in that lineup. Just because I look at it and I say, DeJuan Jones is one guy. I'm going to have a tight end or something over there to help him out. Wells, I'm going to say, Wells, we drafted you for a reason. We know that you and Highsmith have some dope battles, and Highsmith has had some success against you in terms of getting sacks. You better fight. You know he's going to try to take you upfield with that speed, and you struggle with that. And that's part of why the spin move that Highsmith counters with cooks Wells, because he struggles with that speed. So he's such a hurry, and it gets him all the time. So I'm like, if you the Browns, you gotta live with that. But for us, I'm like, well, which one can we help? If it's Broderick and Dan, I'm like, I can't just hope you will lead the young guy by himself, and I can't just hope him and lead you by yourself, because that is not how you've survived these Myles Garrett matchups. You've survived them with us getting that ball out, us doing different things, and you competing and fighting like a son of a gun. That's just how I looked at it. Sure. But shoot, we run that ball. We ain't got to worry about none of that.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. We run that ball. Absolutely. That's why you got to run that rock, though. And then, obviously, we know that's the last strength I had for them Browns over there. They run game. They definitely going to run that rock. They told that thing. Man, Nick Chubb was weird to me, man. Like, how good he looked, man. Because it's like, the Browns O-line was good in terms of the run blocking, but I didn't even feel like they was, like, making crazy holes at times. And he was just cutting through the smallest sliver of daylight. But
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
He's good. I mean, I think we're going up against two running backs that are making a case as to why you pay these the elite dudes at that position, at least just being able to make things happen. Because Christian McCaffrey getting that 65-yard touchdown, I don't think you're just throwing any Joe Schmo running back out there and they're making that play.
I would agree.
I don't. Like, they're getting tackled maybe 10, 20 yards down the field.
Or
not even making that spin move.
They don't make the spin.
Yeah. So, yeah, Chubb's one of those dudes. Like, he's making things happen when it doesn't look like they're happening. He's a really smooth runner. And, yeah, it sucks that the Browns have him.
Yeah.
Like you said, that's definitely one of their strengths. And it has been that case over the last, 3, 4, 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree.
They haven't had much at the quarterback position or through the air. Now they got Deshaun Watson. It's going back to your first point. It's all up to whether or not he gets back to somewhat of what he was down in Houston to open things up even more for their offense.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't expect it to happen Monday night, though.
No, it's pressure, baby. But it is funny, though, man, going back to Chubb, though, watching him in game one, it looked like they were trying to throw him the ball more. It still looks weird, man, when they're trying to pass it to him. Like,
no, he's a throwback running back.
Yeah, they were trying to get him in the screen game, trying to get him a little swing pass. I'm like, that's not his game, bro. Like, he's definitely put him in the dot and just feed that man.
What about any advantages we have against them?
Man, so in terms of their weaknesses, man, I look at number one, the pass blocking. That's the first thing that jumps off. Not necessarily in the interior portion, but at the tackle spots, man. I do feel like that's where we have to win. And not just win, we have to be dominant there. Because of, like I said, some of the stuff I was seeing with Watson. But we should definitely feel good about that advantage and lean on that. I mean, and think about the past couple times we played them specifically with these characters, right? TJ and Highsmith versus Wells, Wyatt Teller. I'm trying to think who's... you know what I mean? Like, we've won up front. That's been the one part that has consistently forced them into turnovers, whether it was Baker, you know what I mean? It's
Deshaun Watson
last
like
season, all them
yeah.
turnovers. Like, the pressure is where we win. But we've also seen where we struggle is when they're running the ball at us. The playoff game, anytime they really had success.
Thursday night, last year,
the first
week 3.
one, it's when they could. When
TJ was there, we didn't get much pressure.
Mm-hmm. So that's the thing for us. It's like, man, we stopped that run like we supposed to. We should get after them in this pass front, man, just because they can't block our guys. They just can't do it, man. So I do think we'll have an advantage there, man. You want me to go? I got a couple of them, actually, man.
Yeah, keep going. You're on a roll.
All right, well, I rock that, man. Let me cook that, man. All right. Well, heck, I think that their wide receivers don't generate a lot of separation. I love Amari Cooper. I think he is the dope route runner over there. But the rest of their guys, man, in terms of them winning one-on-ones, I feel like that is still something that they struggle to do. And that's also a bad recipe when you're talking about questionable protection up front in the pass game and guys not winning one-on-ones on the perimeter. You look at Deshaun Watson last game, he did some things to help them with his legs, but it was plenty of times where his dude's in that backfield coming at him, and it's like, yo, he was just showing that decision making, right? Climbing the pocket and doing those type of things. And that's why I was like, okay, more so Watson than O-line, because the O-line was definitely giving it up. But to add with that, if these receivers aren't getting separation, and we're talking about our pass rush being what we know it is, and even what we saw glimpses of last week, I feel like that's another thing that helps us out.
As long as Pat P stays quiet, too.
He don't have any. Does he have any tips?
I don't want any bad mojo.
What the podcast say? Let's to the.
I haven't seen anything.
All right.
So I think he learned his lesson.
Yeah, let's see what the podcast says, man. Let's see what the podcast says. All right. And then the last thing I had was this, man. Their secondary plays well. I think their secondary has really good names. I just question the legitimacy of their confidence. It's very easy when you're up to be beating your chest, to be, doing all the high fiving and stuff they do when we see them up. But we've been in them stadiums multiple times where we've seen they'll give it up, And that's one of the things for me, man, where I feel like if we can get Pickens to get one of his, he's got to get one of them plays. I do feel like we can make them start to question it. all right, can we really cover these dudes? Are we really like that? Now, granted, we don't have Deontay out there, so that does hurt. But that's the one thing, though, for me, man. I just look at their we'll see, man. What better time to make yourself known than in prime time, baby?
Right.
Everybody has to have a introduction. Everybody has to have that, moment where you let them know, like, hey, bro, I'm for real. So, hey.
He got targeted.
That's what I'm saying.
Last week's game.
Mm-hmm.
Got some catches. If he could do at least a little bit of what Deontay does and be a wide receiver friendly target for Pickett, that will help a ton.
Mm-hmm.
And then with his speed, who knows? Yeah, maybe he could break one.
Yeah. I would love to see them potentially use him in some of the bunch stuff, or just off of where he can't get hands on.
I think I need a quick zig route from him.
See, we say that. This is my only thing. When he's
Zig-route,
isolated, it's a lot easier for people to put hands on him. Whereas if he can at least be in a stack alignment drag, I love that. I just don't. Him at the point right now, bro, they putting hands on him. I needed to where he could just use that speed and really be him. And I feel like if you just offset it, bunch it, or even move
how's Tyreek get around it? It's just because Tyreek's got a bigger body?
No. Tyreek has crazy. He'll shake you, bro. He'll give you that. Whereas for Calvin, we're trying to see where's your release going to be?
Improve his route running.
No, don't talk to me about that. I'm innocent, bro. I'm innocent. All I know is when they press him, it's not separation. When they play off of him, he catches the ball. When he plays off of him, he runs by the guy.
Might need to hit the gym.
He's young. He's small. Tyreek is a way bigger player than Calvin is anyways. But Tyreek, man, when you watch Tyreek run, and when you're down on eye level and that happens, you like, Jesus. Oh, my God. Just line up 20 yards back there, bro. No.
To play off what you're saying, though, with our receivers versus their corners, think Pickens last year had definite success in both the Browns games. The first one was he had the catch of the year, arguably. Second one, I think him and Pickett, I guess Pickens' stat line, I think, was his best in the Jets game.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, the combination of Pickett, Pickens, and just the offense, that was, I think, our best performance in the last Browns game.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's why we were so hot that we didn't get another opportunity.
I know, man. I know. Yeah, we put up 28 points. 28 points in that Browns game. Yeah, and the offense looked really good. I mean, we missed out on points because Najee fumbled one at the goal line, right? Or was there a handoff thing? I can't remember.
Down there.
But yeah, we fumbled at the goal line. We could have put up like 35 points. But also, remember, there is some beef from the offseason that's going to be carrying over. Pickens and Emerson on Instagram.
Right. Because Emerson was the one who Pickens caught it on. Yeah. And that's what it was like, yo, you ain't supposed to be talking. You lost.
It was weird. Yeah. It was weird. Yeah, like Emerson was trying to act like Pickens wasn't that good or something. Or that Emerson was better than Pickens. It was stupid.
It was weird. It was definitely weird.
Emerson started. I don't know why he did that. But anyway, there's that too. So combine the fact that, I think our offense did really good against that Browns defense in general. And the Browns team hasn't really changed because they don't have any draft picks. They don't have any cap space because of the Deshaun Watson contract.
The only addition they brought in Za'Darius, and who was I thought they had one other.
Was it Clowney they had instead of Za'Darius?
That was it. That was the only difference. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm looking at their team. I'm like, this is just really familiar from what I have been seeing from them. And we did good against them last year. I think that carries over. Like, we're not going to be surprised by what they're doing outside of maybe the Myles Garrett stuff moving around like we were against the 49ers in that first half. Yeah. We play the 49ers how often?
Once every 4 years, right? Yeah, whereas this, we twice a year, every year, man. So it's going to be real familiar.
Yeah.
And it goes both ways, but I'm with you on that.
Pick it with the familiarity against their defense. I think will only help. And, same for Pickens, same with our receivers against their corners who, like you said, I don't know. I don't get the hype with, like, Denzel Ward and some of these other guys.
That's why I talk about it. It's like, yes, they look good when they're winning. Yes, they look good in certain matchups, but I do feel like they're still more hype than legit. And I think that we can get after them.
Like,
we've highlighted it,
like,
bro.
you know when an AFC North rival, like, has a dude. Ravens with Roquan Smith. I've just never felt that way with Denzel Ward.
Think about Marlon Humphrey. We like, that's a dude.
Yeah.
We don't look at Greg Newsome over there like, that's a guy. It's like
Myles Garrett, we'd say that's a dude.
guy. Yeah.
We'd say that's a dude. We think TJ Watt's better, but
Right.
We respect his game. Nick Chubb. We were just talking about
dude.
That's a dude.
That's a dude. That's a dude. Yep.
Burrow, dude. Jamar Chase, dude. I don't feel that way about Denzel Ward.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And not even on like a hating thing. It's just, like I said, it's just different. Yeah. I do like Grant Delpit though. I see you, Rod Dollar. Shout out to you, man. Heck yeah, Grant Delpit, man. He good. He good. You see his cleats he got on too, bro?
No.
He got the Mambasitas, the Kobe's custom joints, fire, bro. Yeah. But we still gonna get out there though. Don't you trip. We still gonna get after that. And the Mambasitas, no. All right.
I guess one more thing to add from me, just overall thought. We already touched on it though.
Yeah.
Running the football, I think, is going to be something we get back to this game, and it's just going to be a more natural development because of the Browns front seven and how it's not really close to what the 49ers had, especially in the interior. And that's going to be a way to try to neutralize those edge rushers with Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith. Like Dalvin Tomlinson, Jordan Elliott, Shelby Harris, and Anthony Walker, Talkie. I do like JOK. JOK is a good player, but JOK that's night and day from Fred Warner, Greenlaw, Hargrave, and Armstead.
And also, when you're talking body types, JOK is built for 7-on-7 football. He's not built for let's play this run on first and second down when these dudes are coming up on you. That's the difference with the Fred Warner, when you talk about Dre Greenlaw, those type of dudes, like they're just bigger because of that. But JOK has been doing it with his smarts, his athleticism, his just pre-snap awareness. All right, I'm not going to try to outpower you. I'm going to get in an alignment or I'm going to out-athlete you. So it's like I said, it's multiple ways, and that's why JOK is why we liked him, you know what I mean? Why we still like his game. But yeah, I'm with you, man. When I look at this Browns defense, I feel like the shot plays, you got to connect on them and they'll have them opportunities. But more importantly, you got to attack them by running the football. I think if you sit out here and you put our offensive line, especially if Chooks isn't out there, in a situation where they got to be pass blocking 35 other times, that's going to be a long night for us, I feel, man.
I like what we did last year. I'm looking at the stats right now. Kenny, like 200 yards, a touchdown. And he took deep shots in that game because his completion percentage isn't like the typical Kenny completion percentage. He was 13 for 29, but I liked some of those passes because they were just missing on some. Like Deontay was barely out of bounds or Pickens was barely out of bounds. But we ran the ball for a total of 144. Touchdown, Najee had 80, Jalen Warren had 36. Give us something like that.
Yeah, like that's the way you attack this defense. That's the way you attack a front like that, man. You got to run at it. You don't want to be dropping back, letting them dudes pin their ears back, man. Because for a fact, Miles and Zadarius, if they getting 40 times to just rush, just think TJ and Highsmith, right? If they got 40 reps at rushing the passer on DeJuan Jones and Jedrick Wills, how many times you think they went out of 40, right? So it's the same convo when we say Miles and Zadarius versus Broderick and Dan Moore or Dan Moore and Chooks. It's like out of 40 times, how many times? So the less we can get that number down, the better it'll be, because now the percentage and the odds are in our favor. But that only works if we running that ball. And it's not just executing it. We also got to have it called as well, because 9 rushing attempts, man, or 10 with Kenny, that ain't enough. And that is on coordinator. That's not on Kenny right there.
And I expect a bounce back week from our secondary and Pat P too, because I feel the same way about the Browns receivers versus the 49ers receivers and what they had, because we should probably focus on Cooper. But then after that, I don't think they have a Brandon Ayuk, Elijah Moore, Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Elijah Moore was all right, but it was
not consistent. Donovan Peoples-Jones, like good wide receiver too. But
you think Elijah Moore's best play was when they put him in the backfield. It was like, yo, let's have a little fun with you real quick.
Maybe JP plays a little bit more too. Wouldn't mind that.
I would want to see that personally. I want to see that a lot.
Yeah, if things are looking bad for Levi and Pat P, get JP in there sooner rather than later, please. I don't think it will, though. I think our secondary bounces back. Pat P can't be coming out here Monday night embarrassing himself. The wash talk will increase. That'll heat up. We're talking about things getting heat or things getting hot.
I hopped on the IG last night when I was done recovering from, almost dying. And I came across one of them meme pages and they was getting on Pat P. It started out with the whole, I gotta tell. And bruh, they started showing the first one when he slipped. And he's like, Then they went to the next play when he get into the IU play. I'm like, Then they just kept going. Then they show at the end where Party's like, Who was that touchdown on you said? Oh, it was all right. It's like, dang. They just kept going.
He showed that he's still got enough gas left in the tank. He had some nice pass deflections, and then, like you said, he should have picked the ball off. We're going to see more of that this week. Not as much getting toasted.
Come on, Pat.
That's my expectation.
Man, it's Pat P, bro. You know I'm rolling with Pat.
Yeah, can't be going out like that.
But Amari Cooper's a good receiver, though. I just want to throw that out there, man.
Yeah, I agree.
You sitting there, man, on it all day? Because who was it that said soft zone get you killed? That was Chris Wade. He said soft zone get you killed. So you want to play hard man on Amari Cooper?
No, I think you focus on him. Your focus is on him and Chubb, and then you single up the other guys.
Yeah,
and that should work out. I think we got the talent to match that.
We should. Today's show is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbooks. You know, the #1 rated sportsbooking app. Not only are they safe, but they are secure and they are reliable. But the beauty is, when we talk about them, we rock with promo codes because we're people for the people. That's what we are. All right. We try to, help y'all, help us, help everybody else out. All right. And the way we do that is this. When you download the app and you go to make that first deposit, right? Because you're going to have a little bit of something in your account so you can get a chance to make some money potentially. When you do that, right, you can put at least a minimum of $5 in. But if you add the promo code MOATS, you will also get an additional $200 in free bets to go out there and use and have a little bit more fun as well, man. It's a pretty dope concept, all right? So that's the promo code. You see it right there. Stop wasting time with it as well. But at the same time, Deke, we all ain't got self-control. Sometimes you or someone you know has a gambling problem. Maybe they need crisis counseling or even referral services. Well, there's a number and a text number for those specifically living in New York to use. But for everybody else, there's a number you could dial. And that number is 1-800-GAMBLER.